Nick, are you familiar with Inside the Actor Studio?
Yes.
It was hosted by the late, great James Lipton, who died when he was 90, but he looked 50 for the last 40 years of his life. What turns you off?
What turns me off? Honestly, like I'll be in bed. It'll be like 10:30 at night. I'll be exhausted from the day, and I'll still have energy. And I don't know why, and I don't know how it's possible, but even if I'm exhausted, even if I've spent the whole day working or doing something that's taxing in any way, I can't stop having energy. It'll be like 4 a.m. I'll wake up and my leg will start twitching because I have restless leg syndrome, and it won't stop going.
Jesus Christ. What turns me off? You rolling around in bed at 4 a.m. In all honesty, I'm going to go with something similar to you. It's when I crawl into bed at 1 a.m.
Okay.
And between 1 a.m. and like 6 a.m, I'll wake up like 4 times to pee. And I'll be so paranoid about it that I'm like pushing on my bladder. Do I need to pee yet?
I've never been a guy who wakes up in the middle of the night to pee.
Well, you're just awake all night, rolling around.
That's true.
What sound or noise do you love?
The scoreboard sound that you hear at like your local recreational complex, or like a gym that used to have a white interior, but now it's a yellow from all the.
Did I just get called?
I don't know.
Whatever.
It's like, it reminds me of being a child and just smelling like, not smelling, just like seeing a bunch of like kids yelling around.
Smelling a bunch of kids.
No, absolutely not.
My least favorite word. Pus.
Pus is pretty gross.
Pus. It's those words that mean gross things and they also sound gross coming out of your mouth.
Right.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? What would I like to do? Maybe there's a world where I could be some sort of chocolatier. Love chocolate, love sweets. I could be the next Willy Wonka.
Has there been a like great innovation in the chocolate industry in like 100 years?
Yes, they recently released the Kit Kat Chunky 20% more chunky. Me.
Who does...
What profession would you not like to do? I wouldn't want to deal with garbage or work at the poop factory, the sanitation, whatever, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that's a pretty...
You know, when
job. I feel like you get used to it eventually, though.
The smell of shit is not something I want to get used to. But remember when, you know, I
could have its benefits.
I don't know if it was the same for you, but, you know, when I was in the 8th grade, the teacher took us all on a field trip to the poop factory. That's what they called it. Sanitation something or other. It was the worst experience of my life. It was freezing outside, firstly. Freezing. And everything smelled like shit. Yo, it's so great because the teacher would say, like, people would be plugging their nose trying to get away from it. He's like, if you plug your nose, you're just going to taste it.
They said that?
Anyway. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, that's easy. Just that he was proud of me, I think. That I lived a good life. That I was nice to people. That I left a positive impact in people's lives. You were expecting some sort of silly, goofy answer, but no. That's
good.
what it was.
You know what I expect him to hear?
Yeah.
If I arrive at the pearly gates and Big Papa God is there, he's going to say to me, told ya. I'm going to start one off for you. I call this dream that I had probably when I was 5 or 6. I call it the shark and the skeleton. So it's kind of funny because this dream, which obviously has some relation to sharks, occurred during I basically had a shark week of dreams. Like it was 7 straight days of shark related dreams. Big old pool. I'm sitting around it, and there are a bunch of, I guess in the world of this dream, my friends are there as well, but they're like these alien folk. And I'm kind of starting to dip my toes into the water, take a few steps in, and there's a shark in there, and he's like pulling me under, and like I can't breathe. So ultimately, I'm able to escape the shark, and I find myself in like a huge tree house with no way of getting up. I'm just already in there. I open this door, and behind the door is like a skeleton man with but he's like he looked CG, and it looked like it was in line with the CG at the time, like the 2002 live action Scooby-Doo.
So there's like, in a town over from mine, there's like this mural on like the side of a food court that has these like old-timey pictures of like cartoon vegetables with faces. So they have
This
like,
is a nightmare, right?
This is a nightmare. So they have like these big noses and like cartoon eyes. And I had a really bad nightmare as a young child where like there's like one of these cartoon vegetables with a knife, and he was coming at me. And it was such a traumatic nightmare. I'm pretty sure it left me in the worst state out of any nightmare I've ever had. And it was just a bunch of these vegetables attacking me. I think there's like a green pepper as well. I think there might have been an onion as well.
I call this dream the cartoon crush. This took place closer to, I was probably like 9, and not that Kim Possible was my favorite show on TV.
Okay.
But I don't know. I guess I had a little bit of a thing for her.
Yep.
And so in this dream, it was me and then a bunch of, regular human beings. I guess like some teacher was talking to all of us, and I could see Kim over there, her fine cartoon self, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to scooch closer to her. Like it was I felt this crush for her in the dream, which in retrospect, well, I was 9. If this happened recently, I'd probably need to be checked into a home. But so there she was. And guess who got in the way of things?
The cartoon skeleton from your past nightmare.
Not a bad guess, but Ron Stoppable.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you consider the context of the show.
I could see him eyeing me up and down, like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
No Rufus in the dream. No cartoon naked mole rat. In 2016, I would call the year of the clown. Do you remember this? This is when I would always see these videos of like clowns in neighborhoods trying to scare the crap out of people. And then I remember seeing news interviews of actual clowns crying because they're like, no one wants our business anymore.
And there was a honk after that too.
Yeah. I just remember like so many of those videos. And I also remember that a lot of people had theories that it was actually a clever marketing scheme for the upcoming It movie. It's been when I was 3 years old, clown showed up at a birthday party, painted my face as a lion, and it almost burnt my fucking face off. I was hiding under the table. What's wrong, little boy? You are, bitch.
I went to the Ben & Jerry's factory in Vermont. I just remember like the tour guide was like, and here's the fudge. And it was just this huge like clear vat of brown liquid. And it was like the size of your room, and it was brown. And I remember looking at that like I could probably die if I ate all of the fudge in that vat. And it had nothing to do with what you said, but it just occurred to me in a random sort of...
That sounds like if you were to fall into that vat of fudge, that sounds like the origin of a Spider-Man villain. Fudge-Man!
I miss back in the like 50s when
you were alive?
No,
Loud chewing with an open mouth.
I have horrible news for you.
It's not news. I hate waking up early. It makes me actually want to cry, which is kind of scary. But you're a bit of an early man.
I was going to say, I think it's funny that your 2 biggest pet peeves are directly
your
related.
2 favorite things.
Not only do I chew with my mouth open, I actually enjoy to chew with my mouth open. And when I have to chew with my mouth closed, it takes away from my experience of enjoying the food. Wow. Like, I will do it if people call me out for it.
What a sick man.
But chewing gum, very loud. Grapes, especially loud. I can't live my life chewing with my mouth closed every meal. It's a bad take, and everyone hates me for it.
Oh, it's a bad take. Flies.
Yes, flies.
As far as flies are concerned, A couple years ago, I kind of made a game out of it, as you know, in the sense that I would practically walk around with a fly swatter in like a holster on my belt.
Right.
And I would smack them into another dimension. I'm hoping like PETA doesn't come after me. Don't worry, I'm not like some psycho who's like pulling off their wings or like calling a mob hit. They're either dumb or they're just they know they're assholes.
I think that they're dumb because they're flies.
Yeah, that's true. But they you know, they love my laptop. They always come around me, smack, dead. Mm-hmm. And in the last 2 years, man, like I've kind of kept my eye on the amount of houseflies that are coming my way. This past year, barely any. I think I've turned them into an endangered species, and no one should have a problem with that. There was one day where the flies were a little bit having a little bit too much fun.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. I was able to massacre 3 to 5 flies without having to hit them against a surface. It was just out of the air, and 3 of them I wasn't looking. I'm like a fly swatting ninja. That would be like my superpower. You're Fudge-Man, and I am the fly swatter.
Do you think there's another dimension where they just keep getting flies? It's an alternate universe of your garage where there's a bunch of Nolans popping in.
There's a bunch of flies swatting mini versions of me.
Is it when you're a fly? Is it you're just your character inside the body of a giant fly, or is it like your human head on the body of a huge fly?
I pictured my human head on the body of a little fly. And then,
little fly. I was picturing like
your
size. Yeah.
One, that's too cool.
Yeah.
But number 2,
is it cool though? Like the fly's body is pretty. It's just like a black circle.
But something that you could get into trouble with there is one thing that I love about heartlessly murdering flies is the fact that they're so small, it's so easy. Put them on the fly swatter, flick them in the garbage, and that's a day. Meanwhile, me as a giant fly, like as a giant sized person, you would have to dispose of me like you would a dead human body, probably. You'd either have to dismember me or...
What's the face you're making? Do you have a little smile? Like, are you happy about the fact that you're sort of...
Well, again, that brings us back to the question of, is it my consciousness inside of this fly?
Yeah.
If that's the case, it'll be miserable.
It's your consciousness, but also you like fly stuff. You like to buzz around, land on people for 1 second, and then fly away, but still be close to them.
Well, it sounds like
You like to sit in food that's gone rotten.
I'm absorbing some of the flies.
You like to do this thing with your hand where you kind of like rub it in the front.
Right. Well, it sounds like I'm becoming a fly.
No, but like the rest of your stuff is like you still like the stuff you normally like. You still like films and that sort of thing. But
so I'm going to be a big fly, and I'm going to fly in and I'm going to put a movie on, and then I'm going to land on someone who's watching it. Fly flicks.